A huge piece of next year's Illini basketball team is out indefinitely. Not good.
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another edition of Locked On Illini. Thank you all so much for making us your first listen each and every day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. My name is Sonny Verma, your host here at Locked On Illini, where I continue to provide you coverage daily. That's right, every single day of the orange and blue, and it costs you absolutely nothing. Only thing I ask for in return is, if you don't mind, just make sure you hit that like button and make sure you subscribe to the channel as I continue, even during the slow months, try to continue to build this community into being one of the bigger ones in the Locked On Network, especially in the Big Ten Conference. Today, we've got some tough news to cover, news that shakes up not only the Illini roster, but arguably the heart and soul of the Illini program. Ty Rodgers, the emotional leader, the defensive anchor and embodiment of Illinois toughness, is out indefinitely with a knee injury suffered during an offseason pickup game back home in Michigan. Brad Underwood says he'll undergo surgery, and while a full timeline hasn't been confirmed, this is clearly not a short-term injury. Today, we're going to dive deep into what that means for Ty, what that means for Brad Underwood's rotation, and the Illini in hopes for another postseason run in 2026. We'll talk about who could step up and why this team, I still think, ultimately still has the tools to stay competitive. First and foremost, Brad Underwood had a press conference today where he talked for over 30 minutes, by the way, and he discussed Rodgers. Rodgers was playing in a summer pickup game when he went down with a knee injury. According to Brad, he's staying in Michigan for now, preparing for surgery, and the timeline for return is indefinite. That word, indefinite. It's, to me, when I saw indefinite, it was a gut punch. When a coach announces an injury that far in advance from preseason camp, it's clearly not a minor injury. We're talking months. Realistically, if things go well, maybe we're talking about a mid-season return. But it's just as possible Rodgers misses a significant portion of the 2025-2026 season. Now, keep in mind, I don't know. I'm kind of just speaking out of turn, okay? I'm about 9 years short of my medical degree, so don't take anything I say as gold. It's simply one of those my impressions when I hear. I could be in the moment, right? I just found out this news maybe a half hour ago myself. So let's just be honest, because ultimately, this is kind of heartbreaking. Rodgers sat out last season by choice. He redshirted and hustled his butt off. He continued to improve his game and waited out a logjam of transfers and preparing for a big return. That return was supposed to be this upcoming year. He made the tough decision to stay at Illinois when others in his position might have transferred out. I assumed he was transferring out. He chose to bet on himself. And now, right when he's set to contribute again, he goes down with a major injury. First, let's talk basketball impact. Rodgers is a 6'6" wing with legitimate two-way versatility. As a sophomore, during the 2023-2024 Elite Eight run, he started all 38 games. He didn't necessarily light up the scoreboard, but he brought up something that didn't always show up in the box score. It's toughness, rebounding, switchability, and first and foremost, leadership. He averaged 6.2 points per game, 5.8 rebounds, and 2 assists in about 18 minutes per game. Efficient. He defended multiple positions, helped on the glass, and was one of the best athletes on the roster. You could plug him in as a small ball 4 or a physical wing. He played bigger than his frame and smarter than most guys his age. Again, it's not all about, that was kind of his identity. Without him, Illinois loses its most physical perimeter defender, one of their only perimeter defenders. They lose a voice that can lead both vocally and by example. And in a season where chemistry is going to be critical with transfers like Andrei Stojakovic, Halo Petrovic joining the mix, his absence is going to sting even more. So what now? Rodgers was, at least for me, penciled in to play about 20 minutes a game. So that's a major rotation role. And without him, the dominoes start falling. Here are the guys I think most affected. We'll start with Ben Hummerkaus. He's going to have to play more minutes than a lot of the fan base may want now, in particular early in the year. Because, again, he brings the size and he does bring the shooting. He doesn't have the lateral quickness or the defensive ability that Ty does, but still, he could use his length to help mask some of the defensive gaps. Then you're talking about the freshman, David Merkovich, 6'9". He's going to have a chance to earn some very early minutes. And again, how much you're going to trust a freshman, or at least how much Brad Underwood's going to trust a freshman, we'll see. But he was already in line to compete for a significant role in that rotation anyway. It's just now he might be needed to be a key rotation piece, especially in the bigger lineups that they put together. Of course, let's talk Andrei Stojakovic. The expectations for Andrei was already high. He was, in my opinion, going to be our leader, our best player on the team. But now Illinois is going to need a little bit more than just that scoring. They're going to need someone on that team with composure, with rebounding, and maybe even some positional flexibility for him if Underwood decides to experiment with different lineups now that Ty is gone. Because, again, Ty was that Swiss Army knife that you could put in different kinds of lineups. That might be a request that we have of Andres next season. And don't forget, Jake Davis. Quietly, he might be the biggest benefit from all of this. He's now one of the more experienced wings that we have on the rosters. Can he defend multiple positions? Can he crash the rebounds like Ty did? We're not sure, but that remains to be seen. But we do know he's going to get an opportunity. Now, I think I'm higher on Jake Davis than the rest of the consensus of the Illini fan base. Every time I watched Jake Davis on the floor last season, it seemed like he was always in the right position and made the right play. Sure, Illinois put him in certain positions where he had zero chance of succeeding, trying to guard opposing bigs or whatnot. But the equivalent I always said is when I watch Jake Davis play, to me, he looks like a kid who's probably the son of a coach. Like the IQ on that kid, to me, is sky high. And so I was actually very excited to see when Jake came back. What kind of role he was going to have on this team, I wasn't sure, but I am sure that now it probably got a little bit bigger. So far, Coach Underwood has been measured in his response. He said Illinois is not going to necessarily fill that last scholarship just to fill it. And honestly, I guess I respect that. We're in an era of roster chaos. You can grab a body, sure, but is that guy going to fit your culture? Will he help, or is he going to disrupt? Still, if we're being real, if you take a look at what our roster looks like now, I would not rule it out completely. If Illinois has an opportunity to back channel and find a multi-positional defender, and all of a sudden he becomes available in a late transfer portal window, or maybe even internationally, I think Brad Underwood would be all over that. But the message is clear. Illinois likes the core that it has, and they trust the development and the leadership of a guy like Kylan Boswell, who's going to take on an even bigger leadership role, because I expected Ty and Kylan to be kind of the two leaders with Tommy in that locker room. Now, the Visic twins, Petrovic, Stojakovic, all these guys are going to have to step up. Rodgers' injury hurts, but I don't necessarily think it's going to fully derail the season. Let's shift back to Ty real quick. We know that the guy bleeds orange and blue, and his passion for Illinois is undeniable. Just this past spring, he said, "I love it here. It's my home. There's no place I'd rather be." And it wasn't just talk. He came back. He walked that walk. He's gone through battles with injuries, a red shirt, positional shifts. It's brutal. But if there's anyone mentally tough enough to come back from this, it's Ty Rodgers. I still think he's going to be a big presence in that locker room. Still a voice on the bench. We saw it happen last year. The only difference is last year he wasn't injured, but he was just redshirted. I still think he can be a mentor to this new crop of Illini. And if he can recover by January, February, don't be surprised if Brad finds a role for him late in the year. So here's the key question. Can Illinois still make noise in the Big Ten without Ty Rodgers? Ultimately, first, let me know in the comments your opinion, but I still say yes. You still have elite talent across the board. You have Kylan Boswell, who's a rock-solid floor general. You have Tomislav Ivicic, a stretch 5 NBA prospect at this point. In my opinion, the best center returning to the Big Ten Conference next year. You've got shooting. You've got length. And you've got some serious upside from a guy like Petrovic and Stojakovic. The margin of error, of course, shrinks drastically. Losing Rodgers takes away one of your glue guys, arguably the glue guy. But Illinois has built a resilient culture under Brad Underwood. They know how to adapt. And if the leadership committee, and I'm thinking Boswell, Tomislav, and maybe one or two others, step up in Rodgers' absence, the team absolutely still can stay in the top tier of the Big Ten Conference, and who knows, maybe still compete for it. Look, losing Ty Rodgers for an extended stretch is painful, not just on the court, but emotionally as a fan. He's everything you want in a college basketball player. He's everything you want in your Illini. Selfless, hardworking, committed. But Illinois basketball doesn't fold. It evolves. And if there's one thing that Ty Rodgers has proven time and time again, it's that he does not back down from adversity. So here's hoping for a smooth and full recovery. And when Ty Rodgers returns, whether it's this year or maybe next, you better believe he'll have the whole state of Illinois behind him. There is nothing like the NBA playoffs. The intensity, the buzzer beaters, the fans losing their minds. It's the kind of atmosphere you must experience live. And this year's matchups are already delivering. If you want in, Game Time makes it fast and easy to get seats, even for the biggest playoff games. Prices on the app actually drop closer to tip-off. And with killer last-minute deals, panoramic seat views, and no surprise fees, Game Time is a total game changer. I'll say it again. When I've used Game Time app in the past, my favorite aspect of it is the Game Time guarantee. You know you're getting the best deal. If you find a better price in the same row and section, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, and welcome back. Sometime, I believe it was Monday, it might have even been on Sunday, the Illini men's basketball social team. By the way, we have one of the best football teams in the conference. We have one of the best basketball teams in the conference. But I will say, without a doubt, Illinois has the best social media team in the entire conference. They just continue to do a great job and put out quality content. Look, in my previous life, this is what I did for a living. So I can honestly tell you that I have a good eye for what's good and what's not. This Illinois social media team, they are fantastic at what they do. Make sure you follow them. Their most recent video was about 2 minutes long, and it talked about, starred Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Domask talking about how the University of Illinois is the best place to get better. And to me, watching that 2-minute video, there was two things that really, really stood out to me. And, let's just talk about the stars first. Maybe it's because of what I do for a living. Like, I have no choice but to kind of move on very quickly when it comes to rosters and trying to learn and scout the newest players for the next season, just because I know I'm going to be sitting here in front of a camera, in front of a microphone every single day, trying to convey to you what my thoughts are. And so I need to be kept up to date. But in that whole process, sometimes I don't get to cherish what I've already watched. And seeing Terrence and seeing Marcus smile and just working out, and then I just had some time to myself to reflect on that Elite Eight season that we had, and just think about how special that team was. I think it's inarguable. I mean, I guess it's not inarguable when you take a look at the great teams Illinois has had in the past, but that Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Domask combo, we knew, think about it, at the beginning of the season, we were wondering, could Terrence make that jump to the lead dog? And we thought he could, and it turns out he certainly did. In my opinion, he was the second best player in all of college basketball that season. But then Terrence had to go through that situation that he had to go to, and we wondered who was going to be the Robin to Terrence's Batman. And it ended up being Marcus Domask. And I feel like even calling him Robin is almost disrespecting just how good he was. He was an all Big Ten player just by himself, and he would have been the best player on 90% of the teams in the country that year. And so seeing Terrence and Marcus being the focal point of that social media video, to me, was a brilliant idea. I think over the past couple years, Brad Underwood is building somewhat of a reputation of a guy who turns over rosters. And, when you're trying to build a culture, when other outsiders perceive Illinois, there's not much loyalty. Us on the inside, we may feel it, but on the outside, I would not say nearly as much. And sometimes, we might be a little bit biased, but these high schoolers or maybe other players who are in college right now may not feel like, the basketball side has that family atmosphere like we're always touting on the football side. So to bring in a guy like Terrence, to bring in a guy like Domask, who is fresh in everyone's minds, and for them to be able to really sell the university and talk about how proud they are, not just of what they accomplished, but of their university. Look, they're both professional players now. But what do they do in the offseason? They come to Champaign. They come to work out here. Why? Because their message is there's no better place to get better. So I hope they continue this moving forward. I hope they're able to bring back Kasparis next season, maybe Will Riley next season, because I really do think that Illinois has the opportunity to build more of that family atmosphere that we're so good at building on the football side. I know there's certain perceptions out there on the basketball side, and it's hard to argue sometimes. And so hopefully we'll see if they continue to move this forward. But let's just be real. And this was going to be my second point on that video. It may have had Terrence Shannon Jr. and Marcus Domask in that video, but clearly the star was Adam Fletcher. Adam Fletcher, I'm assuming all of you know, at least 95% of you know, is, I'm just going to say it, the best strength and conditioning coach in all of college basketball. I say this all the time on all my social medias. Anytime these athletes show before and after pictures of working with Fletch, and you see just the drastic improvement in those pictures, Adam Fletcher is a cheat code. And we are extremely fortunate to have that cheat code in Champaign. And so it's one of those situations where, keep in mind, when Terrence Shannon Jr. came to Illinois, he came with some questions. He had some back issues. And there was questions on how that back would hold up in the very physical Big Ten conference. Well, it held up. And a lot of that probably has to do with Adam Fletcher. Whether it's a diet or whether it's workout plans, Adam is the best at what he does. I am shocked that he hasn't been offered double, triple the money that he's making in Champaign to go do what he does at the NBA level. because he legitimately is that good. But again, I do know that Brad Underwood certainly appreciates him. And you can see, again, by these social media posts from every individual player that ends up coming to Champaign, that he is appreciated. Think about that for a second. Terry Shannon Jr. and Marcus Domask are pros. They are professional basketball players with access to professional facilities. Where are they spending their off seasons to try to get better? With Adam Fletcher at the University of Illinois. And this is something that we need to be sure to sell moving forward as much as we can. And I think we've done actually a very good job of it. Hey, are you a little skinny? You need to put on some weight? Listen, we got the best guy in house. He'll take care of you. Are you a college basketball player or a high school player who is dealing with a lingering issue? Or do you have back issues, maybe a knee? Well, you know what? Come to Champaign, come play basketball here, and you're going to be under the best supervision, under the best strength and conditioning coach in the entire country. You can't oversell this anymore. I mean, it's simply one of those, in my opinion. I mean, you have Orlando Antigua. I get it. You had Jeff Alexander, sure. You have Brad Underwood, top 15 coach in the country. But I think that Adam Fletcher is absolutely in that class when it comes to importance. There's a reason that Illinois is becoming a destination for a lot of these players. And it's not really even a secret. Again, I talk about Fletch being a cheat code, but you take a look at other content creators that cover other teams or cover the Big Ten Conference in a whole, or just here on YouTube. When they talk Illinois basketball, every now and then you hear Fletch's name come up. And again, I don't get to show the appreciation for him that I have all the time, in particular in off-season episodes, but I just want to be sure that us Illini fans give him his due credit. Because sure, that had Marcus Domask and Terrence Shannon Jr. in that 2-minute video, and absolutely, I appreciate seeing those two back in Champaign. But the reason they're back in Champaign is Adam Fletcher. And fans should know that. And welcome back. Again, if you haven't already, make sure you've hit that like button on this video and make sure you're subscribed. Look, the way YouTube works now, I might show up on your algorithm. Even you may not even be subscribed and not realize it. Look, it may not matter too much for you, but trust me, it helps out a smaller content creator like me a great deal, especially with the metrics and the stuff that, that really matters when it comes to content creation. There was some breaking news that occurred while I was recording. Jonathan Giavoni from ESPN reports that Illinois wing Will Riley has received a green room invite to attend the NBA draft with his family, a source told ESPN. Now, my everydayers in here know, and if you are one of my everydayers, let me know in the chat. I've been saying this for a month. Even when some people were saying he might fall into the second round, even when some of these mock drafts were coming out with him at 22 or 25 or even late in the first round, I stuck by my prediction that I think he's going to go closer to the mid-teens. Now, is he going to go in the lottery? I think that's a dream situation. I don't exactly see that happening, but I think it was just on an episode maybe 3-4 weeks ago. I said that I could see him going closer to 16 than I think the 23 or 24 that he was projected to go, according to one of the more bigger mock drafts that was out at the time. The good news is that the NBA sends out these green room invites for a reason. And that's because they've talked to a lot of these NBA teams and they've garnered interest in a lot of these prospects. And it sounds like Will Riley is going to be going relatively high in the draft because they're not out in the business of embarrassing kids. Right? Nobody wants that Aaron Rodgers moment, or if you're a little older in my generation, that Rashard Lewis, who ended up being in the green room, I think the entire first round. They don't want to do that to a kid on what might be the biggest day of their lives up until that point. So Will Riley getting that green room invite. He's going to be there with Kasper Siakishonis. And look, if you're wondering, when was the last time Illinois had 2 players in the green room for a draft? I'll give you a minute to look that up. okay, you know what? Actually, I'll save you time. It's never been done. That's never happened in the history of University of Illinois basketball, and we've had a lot of good players come to Champaign. So big congratulations to Will Riley and family, and big congratulations to Kasper Jonas. And let's be honest, this is a huge deal for Brad Underwood. You don't think Brad Underwood's going to be in that green room with them and taking those very opportunistic pictures, and he's going to have them plastered all over the walls in Champaign, in his office. And anytime he brings in a recruit, he's going to point at those pictures and he's going to let them know, hey, I did it for them. And absolutely, you come to Champaign, I'm going to do this for you. And again, it kind of goes back to what I discussed in the previous segment as well with Marcus and Terrence Shannon Jr. It continues to hopefully build on that family projection that this Illinois basketball team is going to try to make bigger moving forward. We discussed this and many other things in the Talk Illini Discord. So if you haven't joined already, why not? Look, I say this every single episode, and granted, we have over 300 members in that Discord now, so a lot of you are already in it, but it's absolutely free. It's a place for you to discuss Illini athletics with other Illini fans all throughout the country. And who knows, we might be global. I got to ask the Discord if we have anyone outside of the United States watching. But look, when Illinois news happens, we share the links right away. I can gather the community's thoughts and kind of package it together and share it here right on the show. So if you're looking for a place to keep up with Illini content, listen, there's no better way than our Talk Illini Discord. Again, the link should be in the description. On Friday, 1:20, the Cubs will be playing the Seattle Mariners. I will be there, as will a lot of the Illini community. So if you're going to be around, make sure you join the Discord or send me an email at talkillini@gmail.com, and I'll do my best to give you all the details possible. If you're watching this on Tuesday, I know it's official Illini night at the Cubs Stadium for their game. And so I know there's an official gathering beforehand. I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it, but if you're going to go, I don't know the exact details. I think it starts at 4:30 at one of the bars. It might be Joe's on Weed Street or something like that. Let me know, because I'm kind of undecided as of now, but who knows? I might show up to that, especially in particular, if some of you are in Chicago and you plan on going, you let me know, and maybe I'll be able to show my face there as well. So hopefully you'll be able to recognize me. If you do, come up to me, say hello. I'd love to get to put some faces to the audience that I have here at Locked On Illini. That's going to just about wrap it up. Thank you so much for making Locked On Illini your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the Portal Show. Brian Smith has the latest rumors, portal entries, and signings. Be the most informed fan on the rapid changes to the college football landscape. Find the Portal on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Again, we have a lot of content for you this week. In particular, there's a lot of college football high schoolers that are going to be making their announcements on where they're going to play college football. I've dropped some nuggets in the Discord that I mentioned earlier, but keep up to date. As soon as there's any sort of breaking news, I'm going to be breaking it right here on this channel. So again, make sure you're subscribed, and I think we have a commitment on Thursday and Friday happening, not we, but they're committing. I'll try to conjure up a preview and let you know my thoughts on those particular players in future episodes this week. But until then, ILL. Love you guys.